mitigations, the deflation in China, and cryptocurrencies, and how we must have exposure to cryptocurrencies, but as a risk management technique, limit our exposure to cryptocurrencies.
Thank you for taking us back to our economics lectures. And on cryptocurrencies, can one use investments as a stream of income? Like you're just investing as your, maybe you go to work, then you have a salary and you just invest. Can you say that's you're having multiple sources of income? And having said that, what do we mean by multiple sources of income? And why is it important to have multiple sources of income?
It's important to have multiple sources of income, Tafadzwa, because we are living in a very uncertain world. The world is so uncertain that almost every financial newspaper that I read these days, it's talking about companies cutting down on their workforce. We also highlighted a trend where artificial intelligence and robotics are technologies that are being adopted by companies. That will result in reduction of workforces. So we live in a very uncertain world where there is a real possibility, for us all to lose our jobs. But that uncertainty also comes from the global economic fault lines that we are actually experiencing. I've been talking about what's happening in China, the deflation in China, and the possibility of that deflation impacting on the global economy. So it then becomes important for one not to rely on one source of income, because the world is becoming, very, very uncertain. The second reason why we need to create multiple sources of income is that when you create multiple sources of income, you are embarking on a journey to improve your quality of income. What typically happens is that when we get a job, we are relying on earned income. And we've highlighted in previous shows that earned income is a poor quality, source of income. So when you embark on multiple sources of income, you are actually trying to generate passive income streams. And when you try to generate passive income streams, you are actually improving the quality of your income. But at the end of the day, Tafadzwa, it's all about diversification. It's all about growing your streams of income. So let's look at the case for multiple sources of income in three ways. Number one, you are improving your quality of income. Number two, you are growing your income sources. Number three, you are reducing the risk in your income sources. In other words, you are diversifying your sources of income, and therefore you are not immune to some of the shocks that may actually happen. Is it important for everyone to have multiple sources of income? It is very, very important. It's just like, a tree does not have one branch. A tree has got so many branches from which it bears fruit. A river has got so many tributaries that feed into a river. And therefore, it's very important, if we are to enlarge our income base, to have so many tributaries that feed into our income streams. That's why we need to have multiple sources of income. There are mistakes that people make when they try to increase streams of income. Let me give you the number one mistake that many people make. Say you've got a job, and then you get a second job, and then you are working hard. Many people will say, I've got a second stream of income. That's not what we are talking about, because a second job is still a source of earned income, and it's not passive income, and therefore it doesn't qualify under what we are talking about. But also, if there are economic uncertainties and companies are shedding jobs, it's possible for you to lose your 2 jobs that you have. So when we are talking about generating multiple sources of income, we're not talking about somebody, getting 2 different jobs, 3 different jobs. That's not what we are talking about, because you're working yourself, very hard like a machine. That's not creating a multiple source of income. When we are talking about creating different streams of income, we are talking about a stream of income whose risk characteristics are not correlated with the risk characteristics of your current income stream, right? That's why your number one goal must actually be to create another source of income. So you gave an example, Tafadzwa, in your question about investments. Do investments qualify as a stream of income? Definitely they qualify as a stream of income. That's what we are talking about. So in Robert G. Allen's book, in the original version of the book, he gives 10 ideas of generating streams of income. I will not go through all the 10 ideas, today, but one of his number one idea, which we might as well talk about in our next installment, Tafadzwa, is about investing on the stock market. So when you invest on the stock market, you are creating another investment stream of income. And even when you invest in Bitcoin, you are exposing yourself to another stream of income. So any investment in any asset class is an attempt to create a stream of income. So here we're talking about investing in the stock market, investing in Bitcoins, or even buying a rental property. Say you've got a job. Instead of getting a second job, you actually invest in another property. You've created another stream of income. The way we are creating streams of income is we are generating a stream of income whose risk characteristics are different from the stream of income that we are talking about. There are 2 other mistakes that people make when they are creating streams of income, which I would want to highlight here. Say, for example, you are starting to work. Don't think of diversification at that stage. You need to first entrench yourself in one stream of income. So that's the thing that I would want to highlight here. Say, for example, you are starting a business. You don't start a business and then you start launching different products from the word go. That's a mistake. Entrench yourself in the core business that you founded the business for. If you are working, entrench yourself in your job before you even start generating another stream of income. When you are established, when you have made a name for yourself, then you can begin to diversify and create other sources of income, because you run the risk of losing focus. I have seen companies fail because they have lost focus. In other words, they launch different products at the same time, and therefore they are not focused in terms of their proposition to the market. So let's avoid that mistake. So far, I've spoken about 2 mistakes that many people make in creating streams of income. Mistake number 1 is going for a stream of income whose risk characteristics are the same as the stream of income that you have. In other words, I gave an example of getting 2 jobs. You've got your day job, and then at night you've got another job. That's not what we are talking about there, because you will work yourself to death if you do that. Mistake number 2 that many people make is a lack of focus and not entrenching themselves in their first stream of income. Think of a business like Microsoft. Microsoft is into software. We know Bill Gates for Microsoft. That's how he made his money. And then once he entrenched himself in software, he then began to diversify into other areas. And that's what we must do when we create, sources of income. In other words, we must aim to create passive sources of income to reduce the risk. So diversification on its own can be a mistake, especially from the word go, right? That's the point that I'm highlighting, here. I hope I have answered your question, Tafazo, in terms of what are multiple sources of income. People ask me questions again, like how many sources of income should we have? It's not about the number of sources of income that you should have. I know of a teacher who says you should have at least 3 sources of, you must have at least 4 sources of income. Another teacher says you must have 7 sources of income. The number of income sources is neither here nor there. Entrench yourself in one source of income, and then on the back of that, you then develop other products, with an aim of getting annuity income. The one thing here that we are talking about, you start from earned income and then you branch into passive income. In other words, you make annuity income from your work. The whole point of creating multiple sources of income is never to work again, right? And get my point here. If you are creating multiple sources of income and your objective is to work again, then you are doing it the wrong way. When we talk about creating multiple sources of income, the motivation here is never to work again. In other words, you are creating annuity, sources of income, Tafazo.
Thank you for those insights. And there's some opportunities where when you start from day one, you have many ideas, and maybe to manage risk of failure, you'd rather maybe pursue three ideas, then you drop as you go, than to just focus on one. And also, usually when you start the business, that's when you need money more. Isn't that the time when you are maybe it's encouraged to have more than one source of income?
I don't teach that, Tafazo, and I don't advise that. So number one, focus is the name of the game. Number two, scaling up your business is the name of the game. So when you are starting your business, it's very important to define your niche, your focus area, particularly, and we'll have another session, Tafazo. So I've promised to have a session on investing in the stock market. I have promised to have a session on starting a business the right way. Starting a business the right way involves identifying your niche market that you would want to focus on. Then when you identify that niche market that you would want to focus on, you focus on that niche and, get brand identity. Today I've spoken about brand. Have a recognizable brand